Hello, everyone, and welcome to our REDSHORT webinar for March 11th. Today, I'm going to be discussing the current Iran war and the immediate potential for an uptick of cyber attacks from Iran targeting actually numerous nations. As always, if you can find information on related topics, Iran has long been a sponsor of malicious cyber hacking. Numerous Iranian hacking groups have targeted many critical infrastructure and key resource targets in many countries that Iran actually deems as its enemies, and they have a long list of that. And of note, Russia and China and thus North Korea, because they are actually kind of controlled by China, have been suspect in supporting these hacking groups. Like many authoritative type regimes, Iran hacking groups only operate with the permission of the government, and in this instance, with permission of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, or the IRC. As you see from the slide, many hacking groups operate in and of and through Iran. And APT 33 is kind of reported as the most active in recent times. And the moniker kittens from one of the naming conventions is associated with Iran, and these kittens, in my opinion, aren't really so charming. The Iran war started on February 27th of this year at 2038 hours UTC. Israel's IDF, which is their military, and various elements of the U.S. military attacked various military and support sites inside of Iran. Iran immediately responded with military actions, mostly launching numerous drones and missiles aimed at Gulf countries who, support the U.S. And directly they were, shelling and sending missiles and drones to Israel. This attack included the assassination of Iran's supreme leader. Then several days later, many inside the hierarchy of Iran's government were also eliminated. It's reported that currently, the military members of the IRC are running both the military and government functions within Iran. It's theorized that this includes the use of asymmetric type warfare, and that being cyber attacks. This tactic by the aforementioned Iranian hacking groups is very prevalent. Cyber attacks in conjunction with military operations are often designated and designed to offset the stronger opponent's advantage and exploit those vulnerabilities, making the conflict unpredictable and difficult to resolve through traditional type means. This type hacking is often targeted against military operations. But you know what? There's another way to hurt your opponent too, and using cyber attacks in order to do that. Iran appears to be focusing its retaliatory attacks against energy production infrastructure in many of the Gulf Arab states. Increased targeting of Gulf state and Arab oil and natural gas production is a part of a clear Iranian strategy, and this to put pressure on those countries who in turn create complications for the U.S. and Western Europe. As we can see, gasoline prices now have jumped and are likely to keep rising. It was reported last week from the Qatari energy minister that, quote, currently oil trading is at about $89 a barrel, which has risen 6% since the 6th of March. This price comes after spending most of the year around $60 to $65 a barrel. In a recent escalation of regional tensions, Saudi Arabia's Aramco facilities were targeted with sophisticated attacks. This likely and logically included cyber attacks, because when you look at a lot of oil refineries, you have the integration and the coordination of both IT and OT, which is directly and oftentimes used as targets for cyber attacks. The incident resulted in temporary disruption of oil production and heightened concerns about the vulnerability of critical energy infrastructure in the Gulf area. While the precise details and attribution of these attacks are still under investigation, such incidents underscores the ongoing risk facing strategic assets in the region, especially amid broader conflicts and asymmetric type threats. On March 4th, Saudi Arabia's Aramco facility, Ras Tanura oil facility, which houses its largest domestic refinery and key crude export terminal, was targeted by an attempted drone attack. The Iranian drone attack on the complex shut down the refinery. Drones are directly connected to cyber. This is not good and will cause pricing ripple effect around the world. Iran has reportedly targeted financial institutions in the Gulf states. This as a part of a broader strategy to counterbalance the conventional military superiority of its adversaries, which in this case is, Israel and the United States. These attacks are theorized to include cyber operation aimed at disrupting bank networks, payment type systems, and critical financial infrastructure, causing economic instability and undermining the confidence in the region's economies, and that regions be primarily in the Gulf regions. By focusing on financial targets, Iran seeks to exploit vulnerabilities that are less protected than military type assets. This aim further complicates the Iranian conflict, which increases the unpredictability of its cyber tactics. Such cyber actions are very consistent with Iran's use of unconventional methods to offset its opponent's military type advantages, especially during the current periods of heightened tension and ongoing conflict. Iran has reportedly focused its attack on banking networks and, like I said, payment systems and the associated critical infrastructure, primarily focused on the Gulf states. Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and other Gulf Cooperation Council members are among those institutions at risk. While I only highlighted, three of the critical infrastructure sectors, which Iran is concentrating on with cyber attacks, and that was, what I talked about: military, energy, and financial. All these three targets, if successful, could have really serious repercussions in the victim's country. Many people often think of sleeper cells, which are located in numerous different countries and are associated primarily with physical terroristic type attacks. Terrorism like active shooter type incidents, car rammings, or bombings are really the top examples of terroristic activities. But there's also cyber hacker sleeper cells out there. These individuals or groups could be located actually anywhere in the world. As this current war continues, the odds of either sleeper, cyber cells or sympathetic type hackers could escalate cyber attacks, of which, could continue into, many years into the future, unfortunately. Cyber threats and vulnerabilities in all businesses, governments, and the military have been historically persistent and sadly will most likely never cease. But with the Iranians currently kind of being on their heels because of they're being attacked, the motivation for their cyber attacks is even much higher. In reality, all businesses worldwide and in the 16 different critical infrastructure sectors are really at a higher risk level. Vigilance is a must, with firewalls, active monitoring, constant training in cyber type hygiene, and applying cyber threat intelligence, or CTI, within its network protections and cybersecurity strategy. This is a must. We have to be cyber safe going into the future. We are definitely living in trying times. As the Brits said during the American Revolution, it's a world turned upside down. It's currently unclear if this war with Iran will turn into a prolonged conflict. But with either outcome, the threats and vulnerabilities of Iranian cyber attacks is real and will likely continue. So please take precautions. Thanks for joining us today. I hope this was insightful and sparks you to take a serious and look at your cyber defenses. If you have any further questions or opinions on this subject, you can contact either myself, I'm up on the screen there, or Jim McKee. Both those emails, like I said, are up on the screen. With that, I'll say goodbye, and I hope you stay cyber safe.